Sometimes it's getting people out of their head and getting them into that feeling so that they can tap into that intuition or that inner wisdom. Today, as we're thinking about that, trusting that gut and that intuition or that inner wisdom, I want to talk to you about three things, and I guess I could look at them as three pillars of self-trust, because I 100% believe that our ability or inability to trust others is directly connected to whether or not we're really fully able and willing to trust ourselves. Because if you don't trust yourself, I just don't think you're positioned to be able to trust anybody else.
This is the Joy Act, where finding joy beyond divorce begins with your understanding that the depth of your heartache shows the depth of your capacity for joy. I'm Dr. Lisa Summerour, and together we'll use accountability, alignment, communication, and trust to transform your journey. It's time to step into the Joy Act.
Hello and welcome to the Joy Act. I'm your host, Dr. Lisa Summerour, and this week I will be talking to you about trust. So I've been going through my proprietary program, which is ACT, A-A-C-T, and today we're at the T, which stands for trust. If you want to see the others, then check the last couple of weeks back and get on my YouTube channel and get those last couple of weeks, and you can find out what the A, A, and the C are for. But today we're going to talk about trust, and that is true, but it's true in every relationship. When you have strong trust, when you have a trusting relationship with someone else, it makes everything else in that relationship operate smoothly. Just imagine a relationship that you have where trust was broken and how difficult things were. Even communicating can be difficult. You don't know if you can believe what the person is saying, or maybe they don't know if they can believe you. You can't trust them to do what they say they're going to do when they said they were going to do it. And so that breakdown of trust really erodes so many other areas in that relationship. So with this focusing on helping somebody or working with somebody, supporting somebody as they move beyond a breakup or a divorce, trust is a huge component. It is that glue. So I want to share something personal with you. When I was young, probably, I know in my early teens, my mother used to say to me, trust your gut. Trust your gut. And at that time, I don't think I was thinking intuition or discernment, but I knew what she meant, right? It's like you trust that inner voice that we all have. And the question is, when we hear it, do we listen to it? So I didn't realize how crucial that lesson that my mother was trying to teach me was going to become for me as I'm working with clients and I hear myself coaching them with very similar, what's your gut telling you? Or how do you feel about that? And sometimes it's getting people out of their head and getting them into that feeling so that they can tap into that intuition or that inner wisdom. Today, as we're thinking about that, trusting that gut and that intuition or that inner wisdom, I want to talk to you about three things, and I guess I could look at them as three pillars of self-trust, because I 100% believe that our ability or inability to trust others is directly connected to whether or not we're really fully able and willing to trust ourselves. Because if you don't trust yourself, I just don't think you're positioned to be able to trust anybody else. So just with everything else in my program, it starts with you, the accountability, being in alignment, the communication, the trust. It has to begin at home. It has to begin with you. The first pillar is acknowledge your achievements. Acknowledge your achievements. And I'm checking my notes here because I don't want to leave anything out. And I'm not talking about it has to be major. I'm talking about every time you choose yourself, I want you to acknowledge that. Every time you make a decision for yourself, especially if you do it without consulting with 11 people, because that's another sign sometimes that we're having trust issues with ourselves, which happens so often when a relationship ends, when a divorce happens, especially if it's been a long time that you've been with somebody. If you weren't in a position where you were used to making decisions, or even if you were, sometimes just the breakup of that relationship causes such major insecurity that you doubt your own ability to make good decisions for yourself. And so this is a way for you to take like a little step forward, no matter how small it is, on your own so that you can begin to trust yourself to be able to do that. So the first pillar is acknowledge those achievements, great and small and teeny tiny. Just start acknowledging them. Just make sure you're slowing down enough to see the achievement, whatever that is for you. Second one is to practice self-compassion. And I'm not talking about get yourself a foot massage or, okay, you can get yourself a foot massage, back massage, jacuzzi day, whatever it is, because those things do feel good. But what I'm talking about is beyond just treating yourself to something special like your favorite ice cream. I'm talking about the thing where you do something a little uncomfortable. Some of you are going to find this uncomfortable, but I want you to get in a mirror and I want you to look yourself right in the eyes in that mirror. And I want you to say, I see you and I trust you. I see you and I trust you. I believe in you to make good decisions for me. And I know some of you are already just like, there's no way in the world. I just can't. But I want you to really do it, and I want you to be serious when you do it, and don't be surprised if some kind of emotion comes up for you. And I want you to stand in that mirror and do it for 60 seconds. For 60 seconds. You can timer, you can put your watch or something on. I want you to stand in that mirror for 60 seconds and continue to tell yourself, I see you, I believe in you, and I trust you. I see you, I believe in you. Do it for a minute. That's the second one. So acknowledge your achievements, do the little mirror trust exercise. And the third one is, this is going to be exercising that intuition muscle, that gut muscle that my mom was talking about. This is from Dr. Tara Swart, and she has this little 3-part exercise that she has people do. I don't even need the book. I know the exercise. She has this 3-part exercise to get you to slow down and tune into that gut, tune into your inner wisdom, your intuition. The first part is take your hands and just hold your head in your hands. You want to hold your head in your hands. And you're going to say to yourself, you're going to ask yourself the question when you're faced with a decision, is this what I want? Is this what I really want? Holding your head in your hands, asking yourself, is this what I really want? The second part is the feeling. So you're going to put your hands over your heart and ask yourself again, is this what I really want? Is this what I really want? And the third one is that gut check. Hold your hand on your stomach and take a deep breath, let it out, and ask yourself, do I want this? Do I want this? Now, you can ask any different kind of way you want, but you get the gist of it, what you're asking yourself. And you're tapping into your head, your heart, your gut, your intuition, right? You're tapping into those 3 things to see what is the answer that's coming up for you. And I am now of the opinion that we come up with the right answers for ourselves most of the time, and we ignore them. When we're in a state of confusion or doubt or distrust or mistrusting ourselves, I should say mistrust. When we're in that state, it is so easy to ignore that voice when we hear it. It's one thing to go to friends or family, or I have a close group of folks that I will go to for pretty much anything when I need to bounce ideas. But I have noticed that at the end of a relationship is when I feel least confident in being able to just make decisions for myself. Now, it's definitely gotten better as I've gotten older and I've learned to use these techniques. But I can certainly remember times where those are times when you want to depend on people, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's something really powerful about developing your support team for times like that and to be able to go to them. What you want to be careful of is that you're not going to them for absolutely everything, that you're really finding it difficult to make decisions about almost anything going on in your life. And so you really want to monitor that. And if they're a really good support team, have that conversation with them and say, you know what? I realize that I am coming to you for like too many things. How does this look? And it's gotten to the point where it's not just, I want another opinion. It's, I don't trust my opinion. So you can go to one of your friends and say, look, the next time I come to you with something that's stupid, just tell me, make a decision. Please, just make a decision. It doesn't matter. I was in a class today and I had either or with graphics that I had created. And the facilitator in the session this morning, she said, it doesn't matter. Neither one of them is going to impact your sales. It really doesn't matter which one you use. So just pick one. And so it's that kind of thing where you think you're going to get this advice from somebody that like knows so much more. And there are just some things where it just doesn't matter. Just pick something and then go back to the first pillar and celebrate it after you pick it. So now the exercise, head, heart, gut check. I want you to use that, asking yourself, do I really want this? Is this what I want? And see what comes up for you. And when it comes up, grab it, like write it down so that you don't talk yourself out of it, so that you can remember, no, the very first thing that came up, what was it? And write that down. And then you can sit and see how quickly your intellect might be trying to trick you out of that being the answer that you want. Yeah, because sometimes I think we intellectualize ourselves out of our intuition, our intuitive thinking. This is something that may sound contradictory, and I think I was going through a coaching program with Heroic the first time I heard it. Post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth. And you may be thinking, post-traumatic growth? What in the world? This is something that comes from getting, not just being resilient. So it's not just bouncing back when something difficult or traumatic happens to you. It's not just bouncing back. It's coming back and being a step ahead. It's like you have actually grown from whatever that experience was. And I think it happens more often than we realize, but it's really easy to get caught up in the, oh, something traumatic happened, so it had to be a setback. And maybe it is temporarily, but sometimes it might set us back. And then when we catch ourselves, we get ourselves back up and moving again, we realize we're actually further ahead than we thought we were from an emotional perspective or from a trust perspective, from our ability to be able to, from a confidence perspective. That's what I want to say. We are further along in terms of believing we're capable of handling difficult situations because we just went through a difficult situation and it didn't take us out. And so sometimes those difficult situations can actually make you stronger. That's the post-traumatic growth. If you've ever heard somebody say, I don't want to go back to the way I was before because I didn't even know I had this in me. That's somebody who just experienced post-traumatic growth. It's like, I didn't know that this well in me was this deep. I didn't know I had it in me. So you came through something. Now look, I'm not telling you to keep designing traumatic experiences so you can figure out how you can grow from them. I'm just saying that sometimes we miss the things that happened to us that were positive or beneficial when we went through that difficulty.
You've built a successful career, checked all the right boxes, but after divorce, why does it feel like everything is falling apart? Searching for answers online at 2 a.m., it will not bring you peace. Neither will pretending you're fine when inside you're anything but.
I remember those feelings, the exhaustion, the anxiety, and the frustration from feeling stuck. It seemed like no matter what I did, I could not figure out a way to move past the pain. If you are dealing with a divorce while you're also managing your career, I've been there. Things didn't get better for me until I stopped waiting for time to heal me and I took control of my own healing. And that's how this came about. That's why I designed the 4 essential steps to creating joy after a difficult divorce. It's a masterclass for accomplished women just like you who are ready to move forward.
It's time to break the cycle. Imagine waking up feeling lighter, knowing exactly what to do next and rediscovering your joy, not just surviving, but thriving. In this masterclass, you'll learn the biggest mistakes that keep you stuck in divorce pain, why traditional recovery methods don't always work for high-achieving women, and the 4 essential steps to rebuilding your confidence and joy. Give yourself permission to stop reliving the past and start designing the future you deserve. Register today.
Because we're stuck on the pain or we're still stuck in the pain. So leave some space to believe, as difficult as your situation may be or might have been, leave some space for you to sit down and figure out what good came out of this for me. Did something good come out of it, and what was it? Did I grow from this? Did I grow from this? You could grow from this. My mother doing the gut check and Dr. Swart's with the head, the heart, the gut. I have a third person. This was my mentor, Mrs. Joy A.A.C.T. I was young, but I was in my 20s, 30s young, not teens young. And I would call her when I was upset about something, or I felt like I was overwhelmed, or I was stressing, or I was sad, or whatever it was. And I could call her in a fluster. And she would just be this calming voice on the other end of the phone. And she would tell me, be still. The answer is inside of you. Be still and be quiet so you can hear it. It's my mother saying, check your gut. It's Dr. Swart's giving you that 3 different things that you could do so you can hear yourself answer the question for you. And it's Mrs. Lassane saying the answer is already inside of you. And if you can just start believing in that enough to start making some of these decisions, you start living into your own intuition. You start living, being able to make decisions for yourself, and you start living with more trust in you, right? And when you're able to trust you, trusting outside of you gets a lot easier, because this is the catch. 2 things I want to share here. One is, one of the blocks to trusting that inner wisdom, trusting your own intuition, I believe, and I'm speaking as one, let me just do this, it's perfectionism. And I have my hand up because I'm going to do my pledge. Hi, I am a member of Perfectionist Anonymous. And if there's anybody else out there like me, you can take the pledge too. And there's this thing with perfectionists. People, there are a lot of good things about being a perfectionist. You want to get things right. Okay, so we'll spend the time doing it. But one of the downsides of perfectionism, I used to joke that it's the cousin to procrastination. It is the cousin to procrastination. And I have come to believe that perfectionism will breed procrastination. Procrastination disguised as contemplation will breed stagnation. That's right, procrastination disguised as contemplation will result in stagnation. And that is the downside of procrastination. Sometimes we want things so perfect that if we can't visualize the perfect ending, we don't even start. Or you might start, and if you don't see it going right, then maybe you don't finish. And let me tell you, that pattern of behavior can breed its own kind of like a little insecurity, or questioning your own ability, or second guessing yourself, or not being able to make decisions. In other words, mistrust, because you don't finish the things that you've started, so you don't even trust yourself. So I have learned that progress is more important than perfection. And I've been a member of Perfectionist Anonymous for a long time. So I've had decades to practice this. And I'll tell you how I consciously started. I am a seamstress. I've been sewing since I was a little kid. And I'm pretty good at it. It's one of the things that I am so thankful for, the gift and the talent that I've developed because of it, that I can acknowledge it. This is one of those things I'm pretty darn good at. And I can finish a garment and it can look phenomenal, but it could have a mistake. It can have an imperfection. Because I used to take it to my grandmother and she would be like, honey, nobody else can see that but you. But she's also the one that used to teach me a good seamstress. A good seamstress has to be a happy seam ripper. A good seamstress has to be. So you have to know when I need to take this out and redo it, and when, okay, it's not perfect, but it still looks really good, and it's not going to mess up the utility of the garment. And so there are a lot of things that I've made for myself and other people that I can go in and go, this isn't quite right. Like one time I had a dress with a lace cuff, and the lace was pretty sheer, but I put the lace on backwards. So the outside was inside on you couldn't see it. Nobody on the entire planet but me and my grandmother knew that piece of lace was reversed on one sleeve. You could never see it, but there was no way I was taking the entire cuff off to flip that piece of lace around. So that's the first thing. Perfectionism is going to create a problem with you learning to trust, because perfectionism again will lead to procrastination. And if you think that procrastinating is you contemplating about something, then that could just result in stagnation and you don't get anything done. So there's nothing moving. The other thing is trust, and I started this earlier, trust is not about you trusting other people first. I mean, it's great if you're able to do that. And the reality is, if you've been going to your friends to get them to make decisions for you or to help you with a lot of your decisions, you sort of have been trusting them a little more than you've been trusting yourself. But that's actually backfiring. Because the more you do that, you don't build up your own trust muscle. The more you do that, you don't build up your own trust muscle, right? So it seems like you're getting things done, and it's like you've got friends that you trust and they help you, but you need to learn to trust yourself. And so it's about knowing that, is there going to be difficulty? Yeah. Are there going to be problems and pain? Are you probably going to get hurt again in your life by somebody you care about? Probably. It may not even be an intimate relationship, family member, friend, whatever, coworker. But what you need to know, trust is not about eliminating all of the problems and making perfect decisions.
Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this episode. I wanted to take just a minute and share something with you. There is one question that I get asked more often than any other question, and that's, how do you navigate the difficult journey of a divorce? And that's exactly why I wrote Divorce is Not a Destination. So if you're a woman who is going through a divorce right now, you've been through one recently, or you think divorce might be on the horizon, I wrote Divorce is Not a Destination specifically with you in mind. I wanted to give you practical tools on learning how to communicate better with yourself, with your children if you have any, and even with your ex as you're going through this process. I also wanted to share with you the importance of having a support team and identifying who the right people are for you to build and nurture the support team that's going to best serve you. And finally, I wanted to introduce you to or explain to you the loss cycle. And those are the emotional stages that we go through when we're going through a divorce. I wanted you to be able to put a name to what it is that you're feeling and know that everything that you're experiencing is perfectly normal for what's happening to you right now. So if you are ready to start your healing journey, get a copy of Divorce is Not a Destination. You can order one at my website, divorceisnotadestination.com, or go to Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, or check with your local bookstore. Now, let's get back to this episode.
Yeah. Are there going to be problems and pain? Are you probably going to get hurt again in your life by somebody you care about? Probably. It may not even be an intimate relationship, family member, friend, whatever, coworker. But what you need to know, trust is not about eliminating all of the problems and making perfect decisions. Trust is about knowing that whatever situation you find yourself in, you either are equipped or you will be equipped to deal with the circumstances, to deal with the outcome. Because generally, it's not going to take you out of here. It may be uncomfortable. It may create a problem or something where you have to now detour or do a different thing. But that's just part of life. And you want to get to the place where you can trust that it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to figure this out. And I may get my feelings hurt. I may get my heart hurt, but I'm going to be okay. And I'm willing to put myself out there, and I'll use the idea of love or falling in love as an example. If your idea of loving someone is to do it in a way that you cannot possibly get hurt, which means you don't really put your whole heart into it, are you really loving? Is that really love for you? And if you're holding that reserve tank, what are you missing out on by not being able to just open yourself up to the possibilities? And once you open yourself up to the possibilities, one of those possibilities is being disappointed. It just is. But when you do that and you go, but I am making this decision because the risk of being hurt is worth the benefit and the blessing of finding that kind of relationship with someone. So you've taken the accountability, you've pulled in your values, you're in alignment with those values, and you're having this conversation with yourself so that you can trust that no matter what happens in this situation, you're going to be fine. You just did my whole method. You just did the accountability, alignment, communication, and trust in one little thing. So it's about trusting that you can handle whatever happens. And I want you to think about this for a moment. Like I said before, you're not aiming for perfection. You're aiming for progress. You want to be able to move forward. So I'm gonna review these things because I want you to remember this. The mirror exercise, stand in the mirror, 60 seconds. I see you. I believe in you. I trust you for 60 seconds. Then Dr. Swart's head, heart, gut check. Do I really want this? Is this what I want for myself? That's your question you're going to ask yourself. Now, I have another one for you. This is a boundary setting challenge. I want you to think about one relationship you have in your life right now where you can practice saying no with a smile. If you are in a really difficult relationship with your ex, if you're going through a divorce right now, this may not be the person to try this exercise with. Think about somebody that you are close enough to. It still may not be comfortable for you, because if you have gotten into a space where you are doing things to appease people and it's something that you don't really want to do, and you're just making yourself do it to keep the peace, then this exercise may be the most challenging one for you. But it could be something small, okay? Figure out something that you don't really want to do, or something that you normally would say yes to and that you want to say no to the next time it comes around. And when you do it, just do it with a smile. Be very nice and pleasant about it. My sister and I were just talking about this the other day, saying no and nodding your head and go, I really appreciate you thinking of me, but this isn't going to work for me. This isn't a good time. So I'm going to have to pass. That's a no. And you can shake your head up and down yes and smile. I just like the confused look in people's eyes when they can't figure out that you're saying you're doing this and they're hearing no. It's just discombobulating. They're like, ah. But it will help you if you need to have something else to think about while you're doing it, that you can just say no and smile and say, no, I that's not going to work for me, but thanks for asking, maybe next time. And then you just have to be quiet and sit with that. Just sit with that no and let them sit with the no and see what comes up, because you can learn a lot in that space after you say no. Because you can learn if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't like hearing no, who's not used to hearing no from you, or maybe they don't like hearing no from anybody, and you're going to see what their reaction is, what their response is to you, is going to tell you a lot. I want to answer a couple of questions that come up a lot. So I'm going to start with some of my shows. I want to end with some frequently asked questions that you may be thinking, and some of you may end up putting them in the chat below, but this way I might already have addressed them. One question: how do you trust again after being betrayed? And the betrayal, there's no specifics. The betrayal could be anything. Did they cheat on you? Did they lie to you? Whatever it was, the betrayal. The key is to start with you, okay? So just get settled and ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? Because the reality is you're not learning to trust blindly. This is not about blind trust. It's not about people come to you with all sort of off the wall crazy stuff that you know doesn't make sense, sound good, or isn't even healthy. And you're just like, okay, because I'm learning how to trust. No, it's not blind trust. It's you trusting in your ability to believe that you can handle whatever happens. Because whatever this is, it's not within your control anyway. So if it was a betrayal, they probably didn't come to you and ask you if it was okay. So the question is, okay, this has happened to me. Someone cheated or lied or whatever the betrayal was. How am I feeling about it? And be really honest. And you could, in my book, I talk about the loss cycle, but you can figure out, name the emotion that you're experiencing in this moment. And it's like, okay, I'm angry. I am hurt. You might be embarrassed. Maybe you're wondering, do other people know? Am I the only person that didn't know? And you can write all these emotions down, because again, it's not about the betrayal, and it's not about the person who committed the betrayal. It's about you dealing with where you are and the fact that happened. And it might be something like, wow, I was really head over heels in love with this person and they betrayed me. I realized this isn't somebody I want to be with. I'm still madly in love with this individual, and I know I need to break this off. You can have both of these things be true at the exact same time in you, and it's going to be much easier for you to deal with if you don't make it an either or, and you go, okay, this is an uncomfortable reality perhaps, but it's my reality, and I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to deal with the emotions as they come up, and I can handle this because these are my emotions. So if you can't handle your emotions, then who can? So just believe, again, I can handle the betrayal. Again, as difficult as it is, and I'm doing this with you in a few minutes on a podcast. Trust me when I say, I realize that gut punch feeling that you get when you first find out about a betrayal. It's like, don't keep anything breakable around you, because you don't want to start throwing things around the room. But it's okay to acknowledge that that's the feeling that you're having, that you feel, and you may stay in bed for a half a day or a weekend, and you may not want to answer your phone. And I'm saying to you, even in the midst of all of that, continue to remind yourself that I have what it takes to get through this, and I'll get through it. I don't know how today, but I'm going to get through it, because it just gives you that little inkling of hope. So here's another question. What if I don't trust my own judgment? This one is so real, because I think this happens more often than we talk about after relationships end, because it really does do something to your psyche to go, man, I picked this person and this was not good. And especially if anything else in your life is not working, heaven forbid your relationship ends and you leave your job or get fired, or all these things that could be happening where you're just going, I can't pick anything right. So remember, think about it like this. Your judgment did not fail you. Your judgment didn't fail you, because you honestly probably made the best decision that you could make given the information you had at the time. So let's look back at the betrayal. A lot of times when that happens, there's this guilt. It's like, I should have known. Somebody tried to tell me and I didn't believe them. And we take ourselves through all these emotional and mental acrobats. And at the end of the day, chances are you made the best decision for yourself at the time. And it's going to be better for you to own the reason that you made the decision. Does that make sense? So say, okay, my girlfriend tried to tell me, or I had a feeling something was going on that I wasn't going to like, or that wasn't cool, or that would have said, oh, betrayal. And the reason I didn't act on it then is we have 2 children. I don't have a job. I wanted to give this another chance. All of the reasons that sometimes we don't want to use as reasons, because we're like, well, that shouldn't be a reason. You should pack your bags and get out of there. That's what we think sometimes, and that's what friends will tell us, and that's just not really what happens all the time. So I just want to be honest with you and keep it real. We sometimes stay in relationships that may not be good for us longer than we should, but what you need to own is the reason that you stayed, because the reason may be, it was probably a good reason for you. It might not have been good for anybody else, but it wasn't their reason to pick, right? You made the best decision that you could make at the time. You did what made sense for you in that moment. And if the moment changes or your decision changes, you have the right to do that too. So as I'm wrapping this up, I just want to remind you, 1, trust is not about never getting hurt again. Trust is not about making the absolute perfect decision that's never going to leave you second guessing or wondering, should I have done something different? Because you probably will second guess yourself from time to time and wonder, what if I had done the other thing? I just hope that if you think about this show, you will come back around and go, you know what? I made the best decision for myself in that moment. Would I do it again? I don't know. But in the moment, that was the right decision. Today, I can see it differently. We cannot go back. You know, I've been married and divorced a couple times, and I've had people say to me, so with your first marriage, what do you think happened? Or would you do it again? Look, I'm 60 some years old. My first marriage, I was in my 20s. I tell people, if your cells are regenerating at the rate that I think I've heard every 7 years or whatever that time frame is, like that physical person of me doesn't even exist anymore. Like my cells have regenerated so many times since then that I'm not even the same person. So I can't take this 60 some year old brain and make it think like the 20 some year old I was the first time I got married. The only thing I can do now is guess what I think might have been something, but I can't unknow all of the stuff that's gotten me to where I am now to be able to go back to that thought process and answer a question like that. So anything I do, anytime you're asked to do that, what do you think happened? Okay, if it was a year ago, 2 years ago, you're probably still evaluating. I can intellectualize all of my relationships and kind of look back over them, but I cannot put myself in that same situation now and completely understand my thought process back then. Honestly, some of it I can't even remember, so it's just crazy. But trust is not about never getting hurt again. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. It's knowing that you have your own back. It's knowing that you can stand in that mirror and, let me do this. You can stand in that mirror and look yourself in the eye and say, I see you, I believe in you, and I trust you. That's what it's about. So look, next week, I'm not sure what the topic's going to be next week, but I do hope you join me here. I want you to just be still, listen to that voice inside of you, and I want to remind you that life after divorce is not just about surviving. It's about thriving and taking action in joy. See you next week.